Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom, main-handed knives built where the real.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez. This show is for those who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life they have always wanted, one that is earned and not handed to them. And today's episode is called Do It Anyway. And this one is for people who are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting to have the perfect plan, waiting for the right timing, waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, waiting for certainty. And if I'm honest with you, most lives don't fall apart because of bad decisions. They fall apart because of delayed ones, because of hesitation, because of overthinking, because of waiting for a version of certainty that never comes. And the longer we wait, the more expensive that delay becomes. And if you're one of those people that's looking for a sign, this is it. We've been sold this idea that before you take action, you're supposed to feel prepared, supposed to feel calm, supposed to feel sure of yourself, sure of the situation. You're supposed to feel aligned. Like one day you wake up and think, okay, now I'm ready. But readiness is a myth. Nobody feels ready to start a business. Nobody feels ready to have that hard conversation. Nobody feels ready to put themselves out there. Nobody feels ready to step into a bigger version of themselves and to start building the life that they've always wanted. You execute, and readiness catches up later. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It's a byproduct. You don't get confidence before action. You get it from action, from repeated actions over time. And if you're waiting to feel ready, is often just fear, wearing more respectable outfit. Fear doesn't disappear when you level up. It evolves. The fear of starting turns into the fear of maintaining. The fear of speaking turns into the fear of being misunderstood or being made fun of. Fear of trying turns into the fear of losing. Fear doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It usually means you're standing at the edge of the growth. Fear is not the frickin' stop sign. It's the green light. And most people misread it. They see fear and turn around. Operators see fear and recognize it's time to go. And that's the direction I'm going to take, whether I feel ready or not. So I want you to picture this. You're sitting in your car. Your engine's off. Your hands are on the steering wheel. Maybe they're in your lap. However you normally place it, that's where I want you to picture it. You just parked outside of a building where you're about to do something that you've been putting off for months. Maybe it's a job interview, a meeting, a gym you've never walked into before, but really wanted to join. A conversation you've rehearsed 1,000,000 times in your head. Your chest is tight. Your heart starts pounding. Your brain starts offering exits. You can reschedule. You can fake being sick. You can say something came up. Bad traffic. Nobody would know. You sit there longer than you should. Your brain starts coming up with all these different scenarios and all these different ideas on how bad this could possibly go. You're staring straight ahead. And the entire battle is invisible. No one sees what's going on in your head. But this moment, this exact moment, is where identity gets written. You either open the door and walk through it, or you don't. And the difference between those two decisions echoes louder than people really give them credit for. You might be asking, what is the cost of actually waiting? What's the cost of putting it off? Because waiting feels safe, but it always has a price. Every time you delay an action, you strengthen hesitation. You train your brain to stall, to find excuses, and stall Installed lives full of excuses don't explode. They quietly shrink. Opportunities don't always disappear dramatically. Sometimes they fade. Other times they close quickly while you're still thinking about it. And the worst part, you start adjusting your expectations to match your inaction. You tell yourself you never wanted that so badly. That's not maturity. That's surrender disguised as logic. That's you lying to yourself to avoid admitting the truth. And we all know what that truth is. You did want that thing. You just didn't take action on it when it mattered. And you made up excuses on why it wouldn't have worked. This would have happened. This wouldn't have gone well. They would have made fun of me. I never would have got that job. The business would have failed anyway. There's a quote by Voltaire. Perfect is the enemy of good. Perfectionism isn't high standards. It's fear wearing a tuxedo. It's a social accepted excuse to avoid being seen trying. Imperfect execution beats perfect intention every single time because momentum builds clarity, not the other way around. You don't think your way into confidence. You move your way into it. And motion solves problems that your thinking will never solve. Let's look at faith for a second. Faith is not sitting still hoping that the path reveals itself. Faith is stepping when the next piece of ground isn't fully visible. Whenever we talk about something like this, the thing that comes to mind in particular is the Indiana Jones. I can't remember which movie it is. I think it's oh crap, it's going to bug me now. But anyway, if you have seen the Indiana Jones series, it's one of the older ones. They're looking for the Fountain of Youth. I can't remember the exact instances in the whole movie. I'm going to have to go watch it now to remember. But anyway, the whole idea is there is a task that Indiana has to defeat. And that task is what visually looks like there is no bridge at all. And you have to take a leap of faith. And so he figures that the only thing that he can do is to step off and hope for the best. And if you've seen the movie, you already know that it's just disguised to look as a huge pit. But he lands on the bridge and continues the movie. And we change this a little bit and we go to 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Fear may show up, but fear is not the point where you stop. It's the point where you decide you have a choice. Feel the fear and shrink, or feel the fear and do it anyway. Faith is not passive. Faith moves. How much can you do if you have faith enough to do it? Most people will stop because of fear. But if you change the fear and put faith in its place, what can you accomplish? How many mountains can you move? What kind of business can you build? What kind of family can you have? What kind of life can you build for yourself and your family? I want you to think about that. People freeze because they attach their identity to the outcome. If I fail, I am a failure. I've been there. I've done that. I've thought that. Sometimes you hang on to things too long because of that. Maybe it's, what will people think? They might judge me. They might make fun of me. So they avoid to attempt at all. But identity is not decided by outcomes. And it's definitely not decided by other people's opinions of you or what they're going to say or if they're going to make fun of you. Identity is deciding by willingness. Willingness to act in spite of fear, in spite of discomfort, in spite of uncertainty. Willingness to show up again and again after awkwardness, after rejection, after imperfection, after 100 people said no. That's where resilience is born. I want you to think back to a time when you started something new, something unforgettable. the first day, the first video, the first workout, the first pitch, the first draft. It was quiet, clumsy, unimpressive. Nobody applauded. And that's where most dreams die, because people expect beginnings to be powerful. But beginnings are not powerful. Beginnings feel fragile, and fragile things still deserve movement. Every person you admire was once an invisible beginner. They once were unknown to anybody. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They executed anyway to see where they could get to. So let me ask you directly. Do you identify as an operator or a drifter? A drifter waits for the right mood. An operator acts on a decision. Drifters say, I'll start when I feel confident. Operators say something completely different. I'll feel confident after I start. I have to start somewhere. I choose movement over fear. That's the difference. One lives reactively and the other lives deliberately. One is full of excuses. The other takes imperfect action. Fast forward your life. Years from now, you're not haunted by things you tried. You're haunted by the things you didn't. The conversations you avoided, the opportunities you waited on, the version of yourself you almost met. While we're in our lives, regret isn't as loud. When we get farther along in our lives, regret gets louder. But while we're in this moment, it's quiet. It sits in the background and asks one question, what if? And it always asks that question of what if? And that question gets heavier and heavier with time. And the voice gets louder and louder. And the only antidote is action. Imperfect, uncomfortable, visible action. So ask yourself, what are you postponing that the future self of you is begging for you to just frickin' start? You know the answer. You felt it. It popped in your head before I finished the sentence. That's the edge. That's the thing that moves your life forward. So stop waiting on it and do it anyway. And this is your challenge. Today you move, not recklessly, not emotionally, but deliberately. Send a message, make a call, walk in that door, talk to 10 people, start the draft, show up to a place that you've been avoiding. Maybe you're going to go to that gym. Maybe you're going to talk to the one business that you've been fearing to talk to, because what if they said no? Because your readiness is earned through motion and through execution. So do it now. Or do it as soon as you finish this episode. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel difficult. It will feel challenging. But after you do it, you will feel something else. That quiet confidence and that momentum, that self-respect. Now imagine how you would feel when you execute on things that used to scare you on a daily basis. Imagine how much lighter your life will feel when fear is no longer the controller of your decisions and what you take action on. You don't wait for courage. You build it by executing when you're scared. You don't wait for clarity. You discover it by moving forward. You don't wait to become the person that you've always wanted to become. You become the person by doing the thing or the things that you need to do. So go out and do it anyway, not because it's easy and definitely not because it's guaranteed, but because movement is part of your life and will move your life forward. And the hesitation is what will slowly decay your life when you refuse to take action, not do it anyway, and stay stagnant. If this episode hit home, don't just think about it. Take action, execute, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember that freedom is not found. It's built in the moments you act despite fear. And do it anyway. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. And I will catch you guys on the next one.